Priscilla. Hello, everyone. I will be the moderator for the session with Optimax. There will not be any presentation or slides from Optimax. So we will just start off with a moderated Q&A session straight with me and Ms. Sandy Tan, CEO of Optimax. We'll end the session with about 15 to 20 minutes of Q&A. So feel free to leave any questions in the Q&A box as you have been doing all day. So to get the session going, maybe I can pass the floor to Ms. Sandy. If you want to quickly introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I'm Sandy here, CEO of Optimax Eye Specialists. So Optimax Eye Specialists is a eye specialist center that provides anything to do related to our eye, the part of our organ of our body. So we do eye examination, we do refractive surgery, cataract, eye diseases, and extra. So we started the company since 1995. Back then, we have a track record of 27 years to date. And at the moment, we have 13 eye specialist center, the ACC center, which includes one hospital, private eye hospital, as well as our HQ at the moment is currently based in HQ, TTDI. We have a center in the northern region, central region, as well as southern region.
Okay, thank you, Sandy.
Okay,
so maybe I can just, since this industry is quite small and quite niche, maybe, and considering Optimax is the largest pure play eye specialist company that's listed in Malaysia, and if I understand correctly, you're part of the eye care industry for most of your career. So maybe I can ask for your thoughts and views of the eye specialist industry in general. Do you think it's a fast-growing industry, and in general, what are your thoughts about it?
Okay, in coming from eye specialists, we have been running this business since 1995. So we have seized that the technology has actually brings eye specialists to the next level. So in terms of refractive surgery, like I mentioned before, back then, when we have to do refractive, it has to be one eye at a time, and the treatment is actually quite painful. But because of technology, now since 2013, there is actually a latest technology called the Relax Smile, whereby you can do both eye at the same time. It was painless, and everything is just so easy and so convenient for you to get refractive surgery done as compared to what we have 20 years back. So I believe with also currently we also see that most of our lifestyle involved with digital, our phone, our iPad, all this technology will also be costing us to use more of our our eye to strain our eye to look at videos, movies, all this, etc. So we are trying our best to make sure that with the eye care services that we are providing, we will help most of the people to actually help them to bring awareness, how to take care of their eyes, make sure that they are very, not just movie and phone all the day. We have to include also a lot of outdoor activities and all this. And if you have any problem related with the eye, we have all the equipments and our diagnostic machine. Everything is available at our center to ensure that, everybody's eyes is fully protected.
I see. And what are some of the challenges that you see in this industry that you faced so far?
Challenges in terms of, any business, and we are living in a very challenging world to begin with. So in terms of challenging, I would say that we need to, of course, maintain our branding to ensure that patient comes in, get the best of the service that they required, and we have to also ensure that our technology, our doctors, our staff are all doing a very top-notch service to give patient the true, and also give them the full information of what is going on, and how can we rectify it, and if you have any eye issue or any eye problem.
I see. So it seems like when it comes to, especially, considering our eyes are such an important part, the trust factor is very important. And I guess
yes,
when it comes to Optimax technology and the professionalism is a huge factor, right, when it comes to promoting
Yes,
that
it
branding.
comes hand in hand.
Yeah.
I always believe that technology and service comes hand in hand.
Mm.
If you have the technology but you don't have the service that to actually educate and bring awareness to the patient, it also it's actually not a good match, because if you have the technology, you need to be the expert
Right.
in order to understand what is the best outcome through this technology for our patient. So I always believe that the proper eye care and also the technology that is involved. There is the old technology, the mid-range technology. There's also the latest technology. See, now there's so many technology going on, but we need to know which technology suits which individual.
Mm.
This is very important. It's not that everybody is suitable for the latest technology,
Right.
because this is something related to the eye. It also depends on your eye condition. It also depends on your overall, health and status of your eye.
And I guess we can see that the technology as well as the service levels is been evolved a lot. I'm sure from when Optimax first started until where Optimax is currently at. But I actually want to touch a bit about the demand here in Malaysia. I want to quote a market research done by Ipsos. It says here that they estimate about 30.7 million people, or about 93% of the entire Malaysian population, will have some sort of a refractive error, which is either short-sightedness, myopia, or hyperopia by 2023. So I'm just wondering, like, is this what you see as well in the field? Like, do you agree with this stat? And if so,
Yes.
can you explain like some of the reasons why are Malaysians so blind? Like, why is there so many refractive errors amongst our population? What's happening to them?
Okay. No, actually, all these main factors is, for Southeast Asia, especially, how we have, it has been a long history, how we have brought up children in terms of studying, education. We will expect kids to, instead of a lot of outdoor activities. I don't see that, that is maybe in Malaysia today, I would say 50-50, but in overseas, the outdoor activities, the assignment is usually 80% outdoor, 30% academic. But in terms of in Malaysia, in Southeast Asia, I would say academic is one of the most important factor. So when it comes to this important factor, children will need to spend more time, indoor studying, reading, and getting more information and all this. So I believe this is also one of the factor that cause why children in Southeast Asia has much more higher potential in getting, all these refractive future for refractive services. So what we are doing now as part of the awareness and information, we check patient as young as 6 months and above. Baby, I'm talking about babies, right? 6 months and above. We just want to ensure that before they go into their learning stage and before they start to speak and talk, we want to ensure that they have a perfect vision, perfect eye. So we are starting from children. We are trying to maintain their power so that it won't go up tremendously. So every year we do eye checking for kids until they are 12 years old to ensure that their power is maintained at a certain level. And of course, we have a prescription of certain lenses as well as certain contact lens that is for children to actually sleep on with the contact lens so that we can maintain their power instead of letting their power check up to 1,000 plus. Like you always hear somebody will come and tell you, oh, without my glasses, I can't see. All these are one of the factor because of a lot of maybe I would say that lifestyle is one of the factor that cause a lot of children to have myopia as well as short-sightedness.
I see. So I guess there will be some detection where you do eye checks and as well as prevention, which is the lens, right? That will prevent.
Correct.
What are some of the things that Optimax either educates, or maybe like some of the things that on top of the lens, like what else do you do to help prevent these refractive errors from worsening as we grow up? Like besides the lens, is there anything else that we ourselves can do as well?
Yes, I always inform. We have a group of optometrists that always bring this information to our children when they were young to ensure that they know the importance of eye health. Try not to watch too much iPad and cutting down their screen time. go do more outdoor activities, and like we have been doing this for a couple of years already, where we go to school, go to kindergartens, and we need them to be aware that your eye is actually a very important one of the most, I think, the most important thing that you cannot be able to, there's no take two when it comes to your vision and your eye, you see. So just imagine, like today you lost your phone. If you lost your phone, you will feel that a lot of things can't be done. You're literally can't even read my mails, can't even check my texts. All these are interrelated to the eye. Imagine if you can't see.
Yeah.
That is worse than losing your phone, you see. So we need to let children know that, the importance of it. If you can't see, if you have the iPad or the latest gadget, so it's not going to make any difference, right? So the education, the awareness, and how we bring children to understand the important factor of eye health is actually our responsibility now.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I can touch back on the business side of things. Maybe could you explain a bit more about the competitive landscape of the eye care industry? I'm sure it's a very fierce market, since you're competing with the likes of government hospitals and also private hospitals, like large hospitals like KPJ, Sunway Healthcare, as well as also similar pure play eye care companies like Isaac from Singapore, as well as Vista or Icon, etc. So like what's the market like what's the competitive landscape like? Can you share your thoughts?
Okay, when it comes to competitive, we do not have the actual numbers of number of eye each and every hospital or center is doing. So we overall we couldn't gauge, you see. It's a big market, and a lot of them are private sector. So we actually do not know how many eye are being treated at certain center. So, but what I can tell you is that, as long as, because we are also been in the market for the past 27 years, there is a trust that has been built between Optimax and our patient, our customers. So this also brings the factor that, when you do good results, you deliver what is need to be delivered. I think as long as you give patient what they deserve, and the technology that you have, and and the service that you're giving, I believe we are on the right track. As long as how the business flow concerned, we don't know what others are doing. We don't know how many numbers they are actually doing. So what I can say is we are just doing what we should be doing.
Okay, that's fair. In that case, maybe I can ask if you could dive into some of the differentiating factors that Optimax presents themselves against their competitors. Like, what are some of the things that we would go to Optimax over Isaac, for example?
I think in terms of Optimax, we started off as a refractive surgery center back in 1995. So back then, we were the first center that bring in 1995 latest technology in refractive surgery. So that's the PRK. So after the PRK, when there is a new technology evolved, we have the second machine, which is the femto blade. Right after femto blade, we have the femto laser, the third generation. So after the third generation, we have the fourth generation, which is the relax mount. So in terms of Optimax point of view, we have a full range of technology when it comes to refractive surgery. Right. So if you are thinking about refractive surgery, there's nowhere else that you could go that have all these 4 machines under one roof. I'm not just talking about KL, but I'm talking about whole Southeast Asia, because nobody will invest in old machine.
I see.
Right. When you start the clinic now, you won't be buying all the old machine. You'll be buying the latest technology. But actually, with the different technology brings in different benefit to certain patients. Some patients are not suitable for certain, like the latest technology, for example. If you don't have a very thick cornea, or if you don't have certain numbers of your eye is very dry, you're not suitable to do the latest technology. In fact, you have to go for the second or third technology, because this is something that matches the situation, your condition of the eye. So in terms of refractive surgery, we are the only one, I would say, to have all the technology under one roof, meaning from first generation to the latest generation.
Oh, I see.
So on top of that, we have doctors. Our doctors are all, subspecialists. We are not just an ophthalmologist, but they are also subspecialists. We do pediatric eye checking. We do retina. We do glaucoma. So anything related to the eye are all it's all provided. So we even do children. Like I mentioned, we have our own optics. We have 2 optics that specialize in children. We even have diagnostic machine that are only specialized for children to use instead of, if you use the adult one, sometimes it's not very accurate and the children are not comfortable because sometimes the size are bigger and, the length and the level. So we actually invest in children diagnostic machine as well, not just adult, and to make sure that we have the best result generated from our diagnostic machine.
Right. And I guess,
yes.
So in summary, it's kind of like you have the most diverse offering out of everyone. And would you say that
in terms of refractive surgery, yes.
I see. And then maybe if I could, if you don't mind me asking, is the price point significantly at a premium versus your competitors, or
no?
What you can see, so
it's all the same.
I see.
Yes.
So I guess if I'm not sure about anything, I can just go to Optimax and everything will be handled there.
So a lot of people always assume that Optimax price point is on the higher side. That's because we have been marketing our latest technology. But when you're looking back at the older technology, actually everything, our for example, the cheapest refractive surgery that we have is only 1,500 per eye.
I see.
Yeah, but of course that is the old technology, and the downtime is about 2 weeks. But it still get you where you want to be. It's just that you have the 2 weeks of, you have the uncomfortable feeling
I see.
in the eye.
And you mentioned earlier about having professional doctors, the best service levels. Maybe I can ask you, since the doctors are a very important asset of your company, what are some of the things that Optimax are doing to attract and retain the top talents in this space?
Like for example, what we are practicing now is doctors are usually most of our center doctors are the shareholders in most of our centers. Yeah, they are the minority shareholders in centers, so they have it's part of their clinics, and as long as you have the volume, you have the patient, the number is there. I mean, most doctors are usually very happy to be in because we are here to invest in technology, invest in machine. This is how we work with doctors. So doctors are the provider, but we are the one that bring in the latest technology for our doctor to use. We only want to ensure that the doctor deliver the best results.
I see.
Right? Yeah. So if doctor can deliver a good result, any machine to us, we are fine. Yeah. We don't have the some centers they might have cut costing. I cannot afford this machine, that machine, because machines are very, very expensive. If you're talking about latest technology, one of the refractive technology, it costs millions of dollars for just one machine. But if you need and to do a proper diagnostic and all this, you need at least 5 to 10 of them in the clinic in order for you to get the best results out of it. So yeah, so the investment actually in terms of eye care and eye health is actually very high.
I see. So I guess what you're saying, I'm not sure if does that mean you're putting a lot more focus into your machinery? Is that, am I understanding right? Or is it more so because you have the machinery, therefore you can attract the doctors to come to Optimax? Yeah,
we have, to us it's a win-win situation. As long as we provide all the good machines to the doctors are usually will be very interested to be able to join, and because they get to see and also explore different technology as well, not just the latest or not just the oldest. They have all four to explore and to understand each and every single technology, what are the benefit and what are the disadvantage.
I see. Okay. Then maybe I like to look into Optimax as a whole. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you for getting the SC approval for your transfer to main market.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Is everything going on smoothly for that transaction? Is there anything you would like to share that you can share first for that transfer?
Oh, everything is doing, all is good.
The
Thank
correct
you.
timeline is still
Yes.
around fourth quarter of 2022, I believe.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
And looking at your
I hope
2022.
Grandma says she's still in Rawop, won't be back for the.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay. Maybe we can proceed.
It's okay.
Looking at your 2022 results thus far, you had quite a strong growth momentum in your first two quarters. This was driven by your cataract and refractive surgeries, right? I was wondering, like, what do you think are the drivers that are driving the growth in such strong growth in surgery volume within this year itself? Could you share what's happening?
Like I mentioned, I think it's the trust. Usually it's the word of mouth that patients are coming in to us and get their surgery done. Because like I mentioned, we're not selling a product. You see, product, you can do a lot of marketing, you can do a lot of packaging in order to attract customers. But in terms of eye care, eye health, mainly word of mouth, and somebody experience a good experience, and they will automatically get their friends, their relative, their family into the surgery. So we see that the trend has been very promising. Numbers are doing, patients are coming in. At the beginning, we thought, post-pandemic, we are very worried about, what will happen, will the numbers drop because, people are in fear. But in fact, we see that I think maybe after the pandemic, a lot of us have already, it's actually a world fact that we need to cherish our life. We don't know what will happen next, you see. So we want to live the most of it and make the most of it out of, So you see, we have been living very comfortably before the pandemic. So once the pandemic hit us, it actually brings us to a lot of the change that we have to adapt to it, and the uncertainties of what is going to happen next.
Right.
You see, so they mentioned a lot of other diseases coming in and out. So I see that a lot of patients today are very more willing to spend on their own, like for example, refractive surgery. I see that a lot of patients are like, if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? I would rather do it now, enjoy my life. I don't have to wear glasses. I'm out of contact lens. It's just so convenient. I can travel the world and, without having any thoughts of worrying that, anything might happen to my eye or any accident will happen. So I see this is one of the main factors that drive in most patients post-pandemic. Right. So yeah, especially in terms of refractive surgery. So I was quite surprised at the number when we, after, like I mentioned, pre and post pandemic. So I see that as one of the main thing that has been ongoing.
It's like a shift in perspective. People are saying,
yes,
you need to do it
correct.
now. So
even cataract. You see, when we were back 20 years ago, when patient wants to do a cataract surgery, they will tell you, as long as I can see, I'm fine. I don't need to worry about what sort of lens. You can give me any lens, as long as it's cheap, as long as I can see, I'm happy. But perspective has changed. The 60 years old, the 80, the 70 years old today, and the 70 years old 20 years ago has a total different perspective. The 70 years old today will tell you that get me the best lens because I don't know what's going to happen to me, and I want to make sure that I have the best, of the lens that you can offer. So I see that these are the changes that has been happening now in the whole market in general.
See, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from the first half of 2022, there's been no new openings of new centers, and yet the growth of surgeries has been a lot stronger than the year-on-year growth is quite strong. So I'm wondering, like, what's happening here when it comes to capacity? Are your doctors just working more, or are you hiring more doctors? Because there's still the same amount of operating theaters. So what's happening here, and how are you managing to pull it off?
Yes. So now, like from before, we only work 5 days a week. Now we are back to 7 days a week.
Oh, I see.
A bit of a challenge for our staff. We are getting more and more people in to support, and people are working on shift. And we have more doctors, of course, in our HQ for example, we already have 4 resident doctors,
Mm.
so that my OT can be on full capacity running 7
Oh.
days a week.
I see. With
Yeah.
everyone coming,
Yes.
a different patient coming in into your OTs
Yes.
every day. I see. So,
Right.
and
So
what
this
about,
has been ongoing.
Yeah.
And for smaller center, we are setting up satellite clinic. So we have our first satellite clinic in Sutra, Johor, since this mid of this year,
Mm.
June this year.
Okay.
So there will be 5 more coming up by end of this year.
See. Okay, maybe I would like to touch on the satellite clinics and about your expansion phase a bit later, but maybe I can ask you,
Okay.
like I'm sure as everyone knows, we're currently in quite a heavy inflationary environment with constantly rising interest rates. And as consumers lose a lot of their disposable income, they're paying more interest.
Right.
Like, and since
Correct.
refractive surgeries are not exactly cheap, like what are your thoughts on this? Do you see the demand to be sustainable for the next 2 quarters as well as for the next year or so? Because like a lot of people will be, in contrast with what you just said, from what I assumed I thought a lot of people would be, putting less care into their eyes. They want to save money because they can say, okay, as long as I can see, I need the money for a rainy day in the future. Like, so what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Optimax will be able to survive through this and push through even farther and stronger?
Like I mentioned, perspective has changed.
Mm.
A lot of the younger generation, the mindset and attitude has shifted from when you are on social media, there's so many news and all these things start going on that live life to the fullest.
Yeah.
Live in the moment. I see that the next generation will be the generation that are more willing to spend than to save.
Mm.
Right? I mean, saving is good, yeah, but they are talking more on investment. People are going into investing. Saving is on top of that, will be a secondary option already. It won't be like, I'm going to work. But of course, this takes individual. I would say every individual is different. You don't know what, perspective each and everybody have. So I would say in terms of eye health and the importance of the eye, like I mentioned to you earlier, if you lost your phone, if you don't have your phone, how would you feel? Imagine you can't see.
Yeah.
So people are taking healthcare into a bit more of the primary side of things before they think about traveling or going out or having to spend things on luxury item, for example. So they would put healthcare as their priority. Right? Yeah. Even me myself, it's healthcare is my priority, especially after pandemic. You're just so worried and you don't know what's going to happen next. So before that, you need to ensure that you are in a good condition. Make sure that everything is intact and you're perfectly healthy and fit. Then only you talk about other luxury items, for example. Yeah. So to me, refractive surgery, yes, it is not a must thing to do. It's not something that is threatening. It's not that if you don't do, you will go blind. There's no such thing. But with refractive surgery, once you do it, you actually save a lot of time. You actually have more convenience. A lot of things are more easier, right? In terms of, traveling, packing, all these things and the cost of you. And of course, like for young children, why I always mention they have to protect their eye, make sure that their power don't go too high. If you have a really, really high power, even with refractive surgery also, you still have a residue, right? Like if you have like 1,000 plus power after refractive surgery, maybe we can cure you at 1,000, but you still have a residue of 100. That so the reason why we wanted to maintain children's eye power at a very minimal is to make sure that they don't exceed, and we want to unlock their full potential. Right? We are talking about all the sports activities that involve lately. You see all this in trend thing like surfing. People are really doing sports that have not been active things in the past few years. So like fencing, all these things are something interesting, and the children are actually has more interest in it, right? Like football, tennis, squash, all these are something that we want our children to to be part of some of the activities. And if they are wearing contact lens and glasses, this will cost them a lot of unnecessary, not as convenient, I would say, as somebody that has no power. They can just dive in, they can just swim, play at rugby and all this. So when you have power in your eyes, there's certain limitation that will brings you. So we want to ensure that there will not be any limitation, and we want to live life to the fullest.
Becoming more of a norm, less of a luxury, right? It's becoming
Correct.
much more normal.
Yes, because it's convenient. Yes,
Yeah.
it's convenient. It's not about luxury. It's about convenient and a daily hygiene. So it's one of the issue if you're talking about contact lens. Your hand, you have to ensure that you keep washing your hand while you put on your contact lens. So this is also part of the.
I see. And with the with the newer technology, the prices of refractive surgery will keep going down and down, right?
Correct.
I see. Okay.
Hopefully, when there's a new technology coming in, I can bring down a bit on my. Yes.
I see. So, just now you touched on your satellite clinics. I understand Optimax is currently going through an expansion phase of their own. You're opening one new ACC this year, an ambulatory care center this year. As well as you said, mentioned 5 satellite clinics, right? Maybe you could share a bit about your expansion plans.
Expansion plans in terms of clinics, like I mentioned, the ACC center, which is the current one, will be Berhad, up and coming by end of this year, hopefully. And everything is ready already with Berhad. It's just we are working with the Ministry of Health on the licensing. Besides that, the satellite clinic, so we will be opening more and more satellite clinic. So satellite clinic actually benefited Optimax in a way that we can actually divert our patient to satellite clinic.
Yeah, maybe you could share like what is a satellite clinic to our audience? Like what's the difference between a satellite clinic and a normal clinic?
Yes. So satellite clinic has no OT.
No operating theater.
Yeah, no operating theater.
Cannot do any surgeries there, is it?
We can't do surgery, but we can do a full thorough eye checking, pre-checkup for post OT, or after pre-assessment. All this can be done in our satellite clinic. So during surgery day, patients just have to travel to the nearest ACC center that is convenient for them. So with that, I get to divert my patient and also bring convenience to most of them. If, for example, somebody that lives in Cheras and they have to come all the way to Taman Tun, if you want to do your eye, right, you have to keep coming from first pre-checking, then you need to do a full thorough eye examination. After thorough examination, you need to do your surgery. After surgery, you need to do your post-op checking, and then concurrently every month you need to come back until you are fully discharged in about 6 months. So the convenient part is the part that we are looking at when patient only needs to go into the OT to our ACC center for 1 time per patient instead of 6-7 times. If they live in Cheras, after they do their checking everything in Cheras, they can just go back to Taman Tun for surgery, and after that the treatment checking and everything will be based in Cheras, which is maybe 10 minutes from where they are staying. So I think this will give a lot of convenience to patient and also to our customers, and also bring the eye care awareness to a stage that if you have any problem related to the eye, you know that there is a clinic nearby your house, and you will be okay. All right, at least I know if I need anything. When you go to GP, sometimes GP will still refer you out to hospital.
Correct.
Yeah, when it's an eye related issue, or you have itchy eye, swollen eye, and all this. So when you have an Optimax in a housing area, I believe this will actually add value to our customer and patient flow, so that we bring convenience and service to them.
I see. But like, how will these satellite clinics affect your bottom line? Like, I'm sure it will help the demand and it will streamline your operations, but will the costs be too much will it be an impact on your margins?
Because the cost is actually not very high, because there's no OT. It's just a clinic license, so the cost is much lower as compared to the ACC center. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I just realized we've been talking for a while, so there's quite a few questions from the crowd. Maybe I can ask
some
of them.
Sure.
So someone asked, number one, how is the September footfall and the number of surgeries?
So far, numbers are pretty intact. We are quite we are looking forward lah, to announce it once we have the numbers.
I see. Number two, do you expect people to delay or cancel their appointments due to economic slowdowns? Have you seen any cancellations so far?
Actually, we are very full now. There's no cancellation.
You're hoping for a cancellation.
we are so full that some of our patients that calls in have to, like if you are calling in today, it takes another 3 to 4 days for you to see the doctor. So we are trying to avoid this issue. So now we are trying that hence the satellite clinic. We need the satellite clinic now so that we don't delay patient, because we really feel bad if somebody has an eye problem and they get to only see doctors after 2 to 3 days instead of getting the appointment on the same day, because sometimes we know that certain things are emergency and they're not feeling well with their eye. But of course, when it comes to emergency cases, we will, regardless of appointment, they can actually walk in. They don't even need to make appointment.
Right.
But for those that wants to do an eye checking, we have to arrange our timing a little bit, and hence with I believe with the satellite clinic, it will actually ease up the flow.
I see. And then I guess that will lead us to our next question, which is, actually before I ask the next question, I wanted to touch on, like, since you said the capacity is almost so full, like how's your status on like hiring new doctors? Have you been successful so far in the past month or so?
We have a few new doctors that have joined us so far, and because of the satellite clinic, we will be recruiting more doctors to join our team.
So, and these doctors will be able to, they'll be like coming into your existing ACCs to perform the surgeries, or are they for your just for your? Oh, I see. So that should help things.
Yes, they will. Yes, that should help.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, then the next question from the audience is, how many new clinics are opened, and how many do you expect to open more this year? So I think you answered this just now. It's 5 new clinics, is it?
5 more.
Satellite clinics?
5 new satellite clinic by end of this year.
By end of this year, I see. And then on top of that is the Sutra one and the ACC in Johor, in Berhad, sorry.
Yes, the Berhad.
And then your fourth question is, what is the status of the Johor Hospital? I guess maybe we haven't touched on that, so maybe you could share. What is this new Johor Hospital?
Yes, so Johor Hospital is in Kempas, Johor. So we believe that with this hospital coming in, it will add value to our southern region. Because we have at least 5 clinics in southern region. Places like Johor, Kluang, Muar, Segamat, and Sutra. So with the hospital, and not just for we see that there is a trend of Singaporean coming in, but usually the Singaporean that are coming in are usually Malaysian working in Singapore. They are coming back to Malaysia for eye care and healthcare and eye care treatment. So I believe with the setup of the hospital in Kempas, we actually add a lot of value to Optimax in terms of having patients from Singapore to Johor, especially with the train that is going to pass by. That there's a new rapid train that is coming, and it is actually located right in front of our hospital. So this is actually going to bring a lot of convenience for people in Singapore to get their surgery done in Malaysia, because your price point is from dollars to dollars. If you pay $4,000 Sing dollar for refractive, you are paying 4,000 ringgit in Malaysia. So and they understand that our healthcare system in Malaysia is actually at par with Singapore. Our doctors, most of Singaporean doctors, to be honest, in Singapore now, I would say half of them are Malaysian.
Right.
In Singapore. So we have that trend of patient coming in from to Malaysia because of because they understand the service that we are providing and our status as compared to Singapore in medical and healthcare. We are actually really at par with them.
The impact from the Singaporeans coming in the medical tourism, that will be massive, like you said, due to the currency exchange. It's a no-brainer to try to come over just for the surgery. You'll be saving, and with the weakening ringgit, I mean.
Actually, this is a trend now. It has been practicing for quite some time already. It's just that during the pandemic, they were not allowed to come back. during that period
Yeah.
of time. So yeah, but especially dental, eye, all these are the best way for them to, they don't have to, it's an outpatient medical services. It's not inpatient. They don't need to stay overnight, and that will have a lot of inconvenience. But if it's a day-to-day outpatient type of surgery, is totally amazing for you to just come back to, it's just a train ride away, and you get to save a lot. And on top of that, you get the same amount of the treatment, and it also gets you to where you want to be, which is don't want to wear glasses or want to get your cataract done. Everything is so yeah.
And if I remember seeing the announcement that you posted on Bursa, the Optimax posted on Bursa. This is by far your biggest hospital that you have so far, right? Is correct me if I'm wrong?
This will be one of the earliest hospital that we will be going into.
Oh, but
yeah, there will be more coming, but of course this Compass will be the first one.
It will be what about the Georgetown Hospital? There's one in Georgetown, right?
Oh, that's a private eye hospital, correct?
I see.
That's our already existing private eye hospital. Yeah.
And this one is the new
but
one.
The scale of this, is very different, because the scale in terms of the one in Georgetown is much smaller as compared to the one in Compass. Yeah.
And then
so we will have more subspecialties in Compass Hospital.
There will be a lot more doctors stationed at the hospital, right? So
correct.
So
yes.
that should increase your top line by a lot by the time it's significant. Would you say that's fair?
That's what we hope.
And what's the status of it? Like, what's the timeline on when it will be constructed?
Should be about 3 years time.
3 years time?
2 to 3 years. Yeah.
3 years time, around 20. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that. We have one more question. Also, just a reminder to our audience, we have about 5 minutes left in our session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the Q&A box. So moving on to the next question, we have a question from Martin. He said, I understand that prices are capped by the MOH. How often are these reset? And in inflationary environment with rising salaries, etc., is there a risk of margin compression?
At the moment, the pricing that has been set by MOH has been there for a very long time, and we don't see any. So far, there's no announcement yet from Ministry of Health, so everything will still remain as it is as for now. Yeah, even Optimax, even our pricing, as for most of our pricing are still remaining as it is until we see what. Yeah, I mean, we just have to move along with any new announcement if there's.
What about your cost? Like
it's really still pretty much the same.
Your salaries,
and,
no signs of increasing.
We did increase in terms of salary, but because we have the volume, we have the numbers, so we don't find this as to increase of our selling price yet.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think that's it for the questions from the floor. Maybe I can, while waiting for news questions from the audience, I can ask. I guess maybe one thing I can mention is one common feedback that we've received from our clients and our investors so far is, Optimax it's kind of there's quite a lot of related party transactions going on, right, with Optimax's founder and major shareholder being also your father. So I was wondering, like, what are some of the things that Optimax are put in place to give some confidence back to the minority shareholders when it comes to this risk? Like, is there any comfort that you can provide to the investors?
I don't see this. I mean, in terms of risks with Optimax, because you see, as even though there is a related party, but every transaction or when we were to go into Compass Hospital, we are just going in as a tenant. You see, there is no other burdens that are putting on to Optimax, because like what I mentioned, we are setting up satellite clinic, we're setting up ACC centers. So when we were to go into a hospital setup, we believe that if we will come in and we will rent that particular area to run our eye specialist, I believe this is a win-win situation. And we get to be in the hospital, and also the rental is going to be, current whichever price that it has is actually, it won't be like, oh, I will only rent you at $1 or $2. There's no such thing. We still have to pay our rent, you see. So this is something that I don't see as, you know, what are the in terms of related party, I don't think it is
I see. Okay.
is any issue.
I see. Yeah, that's fair, I think.
Yes, yeah, it's a fair deal, and you know, when if we were to rent from other places, other hospitals, it's also going to be the same.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess maybe to clarify, you're saying this because the Compass Hospital is in a related party transaction with a construction firm, right? Is that correct?
Construction firm.
The Sina Resources.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, understood. Then one question I'd like to
isn't that better for our, I would say that it would be better for our costing, as long as it is, you know, somebody that knows the costing, and you know, you won't jack up the price so high when we come in for so I think it's a pretty good
it's not a concern.
A good rental. Yes, it's not, yeah, definitely not.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Maybe one last question for me is, as I mentioned earlier, these cataract surgeries and refractive surgeries, some of them are towards the high end of the price scale. So I was wondering, what are some of the ESG initiatives that Optimax have been doing, particularly the social ones, that they're bringing to the market?
Yes, like CSR program.
Yeah, like what are
yes. We are doing a lot of CSR program in terms of actually every Monday we are welcoming patients from 60 and above to come in for a cataract screening. And it's FOC. Yes, we have been doing that for about 3 to 4 years. We are giving out free screening for patient above 60 to ensure that their eye are in perfect healthy condition, or whether or not they have cataract.
I see.
Every Monday in all our centers, and selected centers. So they need to make appointment and call to ensure that, you know, there's a, you know, clinic available on Monday. And besides that, we have our mobile truck. So mobile truck will run our CSR program in, like, we are going into rural area to give patient free checking and also awareness. Like I mentioned, we are always bringing awareness, educating patient, our customers, the importance of eye health and eye care. And we will have our mobile clinic to go to all this area. For example, we go to Kuantan, we go to the area that, you know, Rahab, and then Bidor, all this kind of small town, to create awareness and bring awareness, education to the people in the area.
And then this is a year-round thing, this mobile clinic.
Yes, it's a year-round thing. We are on and going to most of the places that we manage to get. Like, you know, usually we will rent a parking space from the parties, the parties involved, and we'll park our truck there, and we'll have a 3 to 4 days kind of interaction with the people around there. So we even go to Pahang, we even go to Kelantan, all these outskirt places. Yes.
Okay, I believe that's it for the time we have now. So I would like to thank you very much, Ms. Sandy. If you have any closing remarks, I'll pass the floor to you.
Thank you very much, Eugene, and everyone here. Thank you so much for having me. So in terms of closing remark, of course, I will always come back to eye health. So the importance of eye health, and remember to get your eyes checked once and every 1 or 2 years, and make sure that you have enough of screening time. And yes, and of course, like I say, live life to the fullest. Thank you.
On that note, thank you very much, Ms. Sandy, for joining us, and thank you very much to Optimax for participating.
Thank you, Eugene.
I'd like to pass it back to Priscilla.
Thank you again, Ms. Sandy and Mr. Eugene, for the session.
Thank you.
Thank you.